2019. Welcome everybody. I think I don't need to do much introduction because Robbie will be talking maybe even more than he wants to, but he'll forget, he'll talk a lot. So he's going to present a lot of stuff that's here, give a little tour of the show. There'll be some time to ask some questions. Just really thankful to do another show with Robbie. It's been 4 maybe, plus some other stuff going back. He was born in the 20th century.
You remember that, you've heard of it.
It's also, like, she's also very important to me, besides Robbie, is Deborah's wife is here. And I also want to give an extra shout out to Alexia Lewis, who just introduced herself to us tonight. She wrote an essay kind of remotely for the catalog that's available.
You don't want the bird on your back.
So the extra plug is there's catalogs available, a monograph from a few years ago, and a catalog related to this show that's available. You can ask them to sign it. It'll be crabby, but they'll definitely sign it. And without more further ado, Robbie Conal.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, especially you. And all of you, really. I know you came just to see if I'm still alive. I am barely. It's been a good day for me and my kind. Mark Meadows took community and he's going to spill his guts out to Jack Smith, and nobody was closer to the orange orangutan. What's her name? Jenna Ellis. Jenna Ellis flipped, so that's 2 of the lawyers Rudy got Rudy to go, and Eastman to go.
We don't want Rudy to flip.
Rudy has been doing flips for years. But so Mark Meadows, for some reason, fell off the wall.
You mean today?
I have him here somewhere. It's not like he's not with us. Here he is. Oh yeah. And of course Cindy Powell also.
She made it today.
Yeah, so she's probably in as good a mood as I am today to be with you all. Basically, this whole show is Debbie's idea. Here she is over there.
Oh, right.
And she did the catalog and everything. Most every show that I have is Debbie's idea. But the idea is, the concept is process. So, for instance, how do we get from being really pissed off at Jim Jordan to in the magic of the arcade, get to a scintillating portrait like Douche-Noz. Like these pieces that on the big wall are unfinished, and most of them nobody's ever seen before. They're the product of COVID and me having nothing better to do with my life, and being a really angry person. But a lot of the art starts like this, with pencil sketches. And this happens to be Justice Alito, who's up there, along with the rest of his gang of supreme injustices. And it goes from, most of it goes from a sketch to that, to a finished piece with some oil paint on it. This is acrylic on board. But it just so happens that Clarence, Roberts, Gorsuch, herself, Alito, and Kavanaugh I was so angry with these people, and Mary Jane Watley, who's here tonight, and was the head of Southern California Planned Parenthood. We worked together in 1991, I think,
Yes.
which is exactly 31 years, or 2 years ago, on a piece about the Supreme Court called Freedom from Choice. And then we had to do it again. And I always get this wrong, so I'm counting on Mary Jane to tell you why we did the first piece. I thought it was because the Supreme Court ruled that doctors and family Planned Parenthood clinics couldn't mention the word abortion to their clients.
That was the gag series.
That's the gag. That's the gag, which we also did a piece about. Tell everybody what the Freedom from Choice was actually about.
It was, we were about to get the Casey versus Planned Parenthood decision. And we
Which
thought,
was?
which was a decision that could have outlawed abortion. But in the end, what it did was to make some of the, is to kind of lower the standard of what was considered burdensome for a woman to be prevented from getting an abortion. It lowered it a little bit, but it mainly kept the decision, the Roe v. Wade decision in place. And we thought, the one we were wrong about, I think, was Anthony Kennedy. We thought he was going to vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, but he didn't. And so,
Of course, I came to
we
do.
were lucky. Yeah, we were lucky. It's because of your poster that they didn't do that.
That's right. Well, speaking of because of, so I have, I've had for many years this little volunteer guerrilla army of volunteers who go out in the middle of the night. I mean, most of the people who are here, actually, wearing fantastic outfits. Postering outfits.
I dressed for you.
I dressed for you too.
Clean the horse shit off.
Got my dancing shoes on. For you. So I think that we're pretty cool, and we have volunteers in major cities around the country, and we'll take a finished poster, translate it into thousands of offset litho street posters, and then I go on tour, like a non-sketto total loss garage band tour, and meet local people like in New York, Washington D.C., Chicago, the Bay Area, blah 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 blah. The only place I go in the South is Austin. But there are good people everywhere. Maybe one or two. But anyway, I think we're pretty cool. But Mary Jane and her people, Planned Parenthood, put up thousands of posters in 73 cities around the country. And my image was women and mothers and daughters getting into their spandex outfits, getting into the family Volvo, racing around LA and everywhere else, and just putting up fantastic. They were fantastic. The only place I didn't do it is in New York City, my hometown, because there were men who were the head of Planned Parenthood there, and they were afraid they were going to upset some lawsuits that they had in New York. I said, you could just cut off the Planned Parenthood. And they, woo, no! But the women, fantastic. Anyway, so I was so angry that I did those 6 portraits in like a matter of days. It was hard getting them all in to sit for their portraits. Because they're a little shy. But once I got them seated, and got them comfy.
And gave them money.
Yeah, and gave them free plane trips and vacations and stuff like that. They settled down, and I painted them exactly the way they are. But instead of going through the process of making sketches and stuff, I went and finishing those portraits, I went straight to this. You're here.
Yeah, I forgot to bring mine from.
Where have you been?
I'm on the side of Cedar Sinai.
Okay, so anyway, and there's had the most fantastic postering in LA of this because it was 3 generations, right?
Yeah.
Of Mary Jane, like the children of Mary Jane's gorilla matrons, and their children, all coming out to Canada's. You don't have to eat anything after COVID, but to meet and then go out and put up posters all over town. It was great. It was great. It was like a reunion for a terrible thing. Anyway, so I just wanted you to see that. Now, one of the things that happens to me that I didn't really realize was going to happen, and I didn't plan on it. Man, you are drugs. Hey, that guy behind you is so aesthetic. All these years out of the ballgame. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, I was surprised. Like, nobody really, people who know my work, and whether they know me or not, well, let's say if they know me a little bit, they don't know that I do animals and baseball skeletons. They might know that I love baseball, because I'm almost never without my Dodger cap. But they don't really know about this stuff. And this stuff comes, well, there's lots more. But I love animals and, you know, all creatures, great and small. Who doesn't love them? Where's our bluebird of happiness guy? Where is he? Where's the shirt? There he is. There he is. Come on. Okay, so a skull and a bluebird of happiness. My kind of guy. Okay, so these animals and these skeletons, and I'll talk to you about baseball just for Bill in a minute, but I have a buddy, a skeleton in my studio, been my pal for 30 years, Stan the Man, and we work together a lot. But what happened that I never expected was the animal drawings and paintings and the skeletons started seeping into my satirical political posters. What the hell? You just can't keep a good creature down. You certainly can't keep a good skeleton down. So, let's see if I have some of these. Yeah, okay. So, see the bunny?
Yeah.
See the bunny? You see the bunny? Hey, pussycat. You see the bunny? Okay. Come with me. So, it's a surprise. Come with me. Come with me.
Oh, yeah. It's the walk and talk part.
Yeah, the walk and talk. Here's Dick Cheney. Liz's dad, who we don't talk about anymore because Liz did one good thing for him.
That one thing.
Here he is. Here he is, and here's a bunny. What happened? Well, him and the bunny, and the Iraq War, which was a lot his making, like telling people that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, which he did not, and going out and turning what had already, like, George Bush Sr. had already turned Iraq into rubble, and W turned it into pebbles for no good fucking reason. So I considered him an abomination, you know. And if you think about it, since I love the English language so much, and especially puns and colloquial English, it turned into this. Can you see that? Let's walk it through.
Let the bombs fly.
Yeah. Bunny shit bomb. Yeah, baby. Go, Robbie. Yeah, go, Robbie. So, abomination. There we go. For those of you in the back. Bunny shit bombs. Bombs away. All right, so there they are encroaching. And one second. So, okay, the skeletons. So, I love skeletons, I love baseball, but, Do you remember a mission accomplished? George Bush? How about E-mission accomplished?
And what is he doing exactly? And what is he doing it with? Nothing. Okay, so this is him coming. This is him going. Okay. And somehow, the skeletons got involved. Okay, now for the animals. So there's a kitty cat over there. And I am proud to say, although people don't know this, I'm proud to say, I do cat portraits. Serious, soulful cat portraits. Boom, boom. Oh my God, talk about serious and soulful. Only 7 years of my life, baby. And counting. And counting. And you count. So, I do cat portraits. I do dog portraits too. Cats and dogs.
Still waiting on pig, Robin.
Well, you know where to find me. I'm not ready. So anyway, every once in a while, Deb and I get asked to do a poster for a nonprofit organization or something like that. And usually it doesn't work out except with Mary Jane. But sometimes it works out. And here's one where the dogs and the cats got involved. Yeah. You know. So, Interspecies Xenoglossi Slam Poetry Society, my favorite, presents Kitty and Puppy Love. Okay, so like that, it's yours. Let's see. What else do I have? Okay, so somebody here likes frogs. Who was it? Maybe a lot of people like frogs. One guy was taking photographs of the
I'm
frogs.
sitting down now, but I can still hear you.
Oh yes, the bluebird of happiness himself. Okay, so I love frogs. What's not to love? How about frogs in love? And so, Iona Wetlands was under attack. And along with Steven Spielberg and, you know, like a big complex that was going to be mostly business, but also some residential stuff. And it actually is there. But a couple of, Debbie and I, we kind of volunteered to do a poster to save Iona Wetlands. You know, we're into that, environmental stuff, yes. So, these were two grassroots organizations. We did the poster, and they wouldn't put it up. They were too scared to put it up for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, but Debbie designed the back of this, a spectacular job, psychedelic, I would say, appropriately enough. And here it is. Give the frogs some fucking space. Give the fucking frogs. There they are. And these are not movies. It's just, you know, that hippie thing. So, but Debbie designed this to fold up and have a wet dreams in the back. And we got some of our friends to contribute stuff, and it folds up into a flyer. And so we had our volunteers go out, especially like in Santa Monica on the west side, and go to parking structures and put them in car windshields, like you got a ticket, only you got parking garage. You got a wet dream.
right. Okay, so the octopi. Who doesn't love octopuses? You know, they're fantastic. They have 3 hearts. They can change colors like anything. They can do lots of things. They're spectacular. They're too smart to eat. You know, they're too wonderful. I love them, and I hate investment bankers. The segue just happens to be that I hate investment bankers. Well, they can handle it. They can handle it. So we need somebody to handle it, right? Obama had them, and had a few of them. Yeah. The only person missing is Jamie Dimon, but I was doing sketches for this poster about 2008 investment banking scandal. So Moynihan, Cole, and Mac. This is just a sketch, like, remember we're talking about process. Oh, it's the 3 of you.
Oh, me?
Yeah, okay. You come with her.
That's my
Okay.
sister, yeah.
Okay, got it.
She needs a legal guardian for her.
So do I.
He's the birth.
Okay, so anyway, those guys, bad guys, and Obama had them. You know, he could have taken them behind the woodshed and just destroyed them, or dropped cold bolter on them. But instead he made it. Okay, Obama was like a deal-making kind of guy. Still, it was a terrible thing, and we needed somebody, you know, who we could trust to handle it. How about a giant red Pacific octopus? There he is. Big fish, eating little fish. You can bank on it.
That's great.
Okay, well, here.
Was that part of decades, one of the decades beacons? Wasn't there not replacement that was part of one of the decades beacons?
I don't think so. Because it's too much trouble painting all those suckers. One time I was giving a talk, and that painting, the actual painting, the big painting,
Right.
was here. And I'm talking about, saying, oh yes, and I painted this octopus, you know, that guy.
Right.
And it's a big painting. And I painted all these suckers, and it was great. And my assistant at the time, Goldilocks, was in the audience. It wasn't wonderful. You hated painting those things. You're right, but for an octopus, I'm doing it. Anyway, so that's how they got in there. Oh yeah, more skeletons. Okay, so Katrina. Katrina was terrible. Bush's response was even worse. So we used to go down to New Orleans to poster our posters, and we would pick the Heritage and Jazz Music Festival because 100,000 extra people there. I mean, New Orleans is a terrible place, but it has wonderful music. You wouldn't want to live there. You wouldn't want to try to find a vegetable there. Yeah, okra and smashed tomatoes. That's about it. And nothing against okra. It's great
I
stuff.
thought Ben May was an
Oh, they think. I think they got to you. And it's
Remember, I
understandable.
asked there.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah. So we would go, but in 2005, we went for Katrina. And I mean, Bush was execrable about that. He was execrable about a lot of things. You're talking about the Iraq War. You're talking about a lot of things. Now he looks like a pussycat compared to somebody else, but he was not. We love pussycats, you know. And he had the Patriot Act. You remember the Patriot Act? Also, like a little bit of overreaction, perhaps. Perhaps. Along with torture. Yep. Yeah. Waterboarding and patriotism go together like that. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about Israel. I'm not going to talk about Palestine. Maybe later. But okay, the Patriot Act, what he did not do for the residents of New Orleans, and these guys, Patriot in action. Just to show you, like we're winding down, just to show you. Winding down.
The easy stuff.
So we went to New Orleans. Oh, so my assistant at that time, the great Melissa Metayer, from New Orleans, she hosted this postering, and she had her parents' Jeep Grand Cherokee, full leather, full everything, made 27 illegal left turns in an hour. And I said, what about the cops? She says, oh, I know the schedule of the cops in New Orleans. I know they're at Arby's right now. No problem. Okay, so that was great. What else can I tell you? So these little guys, so I love baseball, and I love the motion of pitchers and batters and what the skeleton can do. That is just amazing, but also it's kind of like all this stuff. Somebody was talking about Rodney Richards, probably Bill, and all the great motions of pictures, and I think of it kind of like modern dance. Some people remember Martha Graham. I remember Fernando. Sandy Koufax, absolutely. I did big painting of Sandy Koufax, not appropriate for this show, but it's actually finished. I also, my very favorite picture, now let's talk about this. Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis. Not only was Doc from South Central.
Do you want the doc? Little sketch?
Yeah, bring it up. Hey. Yeah, he pitched a no-hitter on LSD. Come on! My man! Yeah, so, anyway, I did a big painting of him, but for some reason, some crazy person actually bought that. So, but anyway.
Because why not?
Because, how can you resist? It had glitter all over and he was glowing. He was fantastic. There's a great book about Doc Ellis, the poet laureate of the United States. The other guy. Spent a year with Doc and did a book about Doc called In the Country of Baseball. And the first printing, they weren't allowed to mention the word LSD. So they said he was drunk. But 2 years later, the book was such a hit. You know this, Bill? 2 years later, they had to do another edition. And Doc went up to the poet laureates and sent him to a home in New Hampshire, a 250-year-old mansion, in his full mink coat in the winter. And they spent a week revising it, putting in LSD and everywhere. Anyway, baseball. Okay, so I have a pet peeve about fine art and baseball. Here's a little sketch of Doc in the groove. In the groove. But this is just a sketch for, this is actually a sketch for lithograph, which I'm going to tell you about right now. Anyway, I have this pet peeve about baseball, like no real fine art American artist. We're not talking Leo or Neiman. Over there. And we'll talk about real artists and like fine artists. No American fine artists address baseball, the national pastime, as a subject for their art. Now, when I first came to LA in 1984, I met these guys on the West Side in Venice, who all were great LA artists. All had come out of Chenard, the only one art school at the time in the 50s in LA, and they were settled in Venice, they all were wearing Dodger caps. They all listened to Vinny 162 games a year. Baseball is the best companion, studio companion an artist can have. If you like something where nothing happens for a long time, and many times over. Fantastic. So I finally got to know these guys. So where's Al Schaefer? There he is. Threw up my pal Al, who's been I think he's been my photographer since 1988. He says 87. What's the difference? A long time ago. Anyway, he knew all these guys. He had photographed all these guys for years. And where did everybody go for lunch except Boucher? Hal's. Hal's in Venice. So he would take me to Hal's for lunch. And there they were. And Boucher owned a master lithography shop in Abbot Kinney called Hamilton Press. Ed Hamilton was the master printer. And he would have lunch with the guys too. And they didn't really accept it, like, who's this guy? We'll use a Yiddish word, Unterhitzer. Like comes in underneath, like a Schlemiel Unterhitzer. Forget about it, don't even know what it means, who cares? But once they found out that it took a while, but they found out that I was the guy who did those posters. Oh, okay. That's cute. So, okay. So I got to complaining about my subject, no artist like baseball, just like, what the hell is wrong? I can make, I can make a batting order of nine artists, all in Venice, who are great artists, who never did anything about baseball. How about it? So I was talking to Hamilton about it. I said, you have to talk to Boucher. Okay. Boucher didn't go to Hal's because there's too much art on the walls. Oh. And also his art of his friends. So he went to Joe's, which is down the street. Sorry. Down the street. So I had to have a lunch with Boucher to talk him into funding a portfolio, a print portfolio of all these artists, to talk them into making like one print about baseball each. And he goes, I don't know, these guys, what would I do? And I said, does anybody know Ron Keatai, R.B. Keatai, great painter, American painter, who lived in London most of his life?
Yes.
Great friend of Hockney's. Okay, great painter. Boucher and I loved him. He had a tough time in England at one point. Hockney moved him to Westwood. I happen to know, this is Boucher's favorite American artist, and mine, one of mine. I happen to know that Keatai loved baseball, and did baseball drawings. And so I told that, and he goes, get out of here, he doesn't do that. But I have a catalog from 1967 of a German show of all of Keatai's early lithographs, including the Ted Williams ship, Satchel Paige, and it turns out that in 1961, I know you care about this, come on. This is important to me. In 1961, Sports Illustrated hired Keatai to go to spring training in St. Petersburg to do drawings of the Yankees and the St. Louis Cardinals who were down there. And they're great drawings, They're in this catalog, which in '67 I scraped together $150. It was all in German, but it's a picture book. So I brought it to Boucher. I said, look, he goes, oh my God, this is so great. So I said, so you got to go talk Keatai into being in this catalog, and then all the other guys will come along, being in this print portfolio. So he goes, and he brings Mylar, he brings wax crayons, he brings everything. He brings special paper to talk Keatai into this. He's there for 3 hours. He comes back and says, how'd it go? He said, I couldn't ask him. It was great though. It's great. He showed me his day gods. He showed me his design. He showed me that the pastels that he gets in Paris, which are the ones that they God used to draw with. Yeah, but Ed. Okay, I'll write him a letter. I'll write him. So he writes him a letter. 3 days later, Hamilton Press gets a call. Ed Hamilton's wife, Pat, who does the business of the press, asks, hello? This is Keytie. I'm in. She gives the phone to Ed and goes, okay. And a week later, Keytie was done. He did it. And there was a portrait of Sasha Fierce. And then he died. But that's not the good part of the story. Anyway, baseball. So we talked them into it. We did a portfolio. 13 artists. Shay did the cover. It's now at the Met. It's at LACMA. It's all over the place. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But the most important thing is Doc Ellis is in it. Yes. Okay. So what else? I don't know. Any questions or anything like? Come on now. We're here.
How old were you when you decided to be an artist?
5. Maybe 6.